Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? You asked Sean Payton if he was going to divulge anything about quarterback, and he gave you a one-word answer. I think it was nope, maybe? Like nope. So give me some perspective here. Like, you know Sean well, you've covered him a long time.
Right.
What do you think he's thinking and what he's going to do?
Well, I really do think it would have been Taysom Hill under normal circumstances, and Sean Payton even actually said that Sunday night when he was explaining that Trevor Siemian always would have gone into this game, even if Taysom was healthy. That's what they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
They designate someone as the number 2 quarterback while Taysom Hill is playing the Taysom Hill role. So his point was Trevor Siemian always would have gone into that game, and he said, and then Taysom would have started next week. But what complicates that is Taysom Hill wasn't healthy. And even though he is healthy now and he fully participated in practice today, he was a limited participant yesterday. I'm not sure how far along he was in the concussion protocol on Monday and Tuesday when they're devising their game plan. And concussions are such an unusual injury that you don't know. A guy could practice for a couple of days and then not feel great Friday. I think all of those factors, I would have put my bet on Trevor Siemian starting this week. And if he does, I don't think that means that's the permanent decision. So there's a lot of balls in the air as far as that goes. I don't know if I think we found out on Friday when we didn't know who the starters are going to be last year after Breeze got hurt and then when Breeze came back. So I'm hopeful that we'll know for a fact tomorrow, but obviously they play the mystery game sometimes too.
Is this a better offense with Taysom Hill at quarterback or with Trevor Siemian at quarterback and Taysom Hill in his Taysom Hill role?
When that question was Jameis versus Taysom, I definitely thought it was better when Jameis was the quarterback and Taysom was in the Taysom role, but I also thought Jameis was outplaying him at the quarterback position at the time. I don't know enough about Trevor Siemian to say that. I think Taysom Hill is the better quarterback. I still have high hopes for what the Taysom Hill offense could look like. I think they learned from some of their mistakes last year. I was really stunned that Taysom Hill didn't take more advantage of his legs sooner since he got in a lot of trouble when he stood back there in the pocket too long. That's when the strip fumbles came and some of his more off-target passes came. But I think he could do a better job with that experience under his belt. I think Sean Payton could devise a better game plan with that experience under their belt. So I think in this case, Taysom Hill is the better quarterback, and I think you got to go with the better quarterback. But if the Saints believe it's a coin flip, then obviously the tiebreaker is you can use Taysom Hill in that other role. And this is a team that needs playmakers. So, Trevor Siemian playing quarterback and having Taysom Hill doing what Taysom Hill is special at is kind of a win-win possibility.
That kind of feels like the answer to me, Mike, just because you have such a dearth of offensive skill players and options right now. I mean, doesn't that give Sean Payton just another toy in the chest to play with if you have Taysom in the Taysom role that's eliminated if he's playing quarterback?
For sure. But, I mean, there is a line. We just don't know where Trevor Siemian is on that line. Like, at a certain point, Taysom Hill is your best quarterback option. They're not going to put Alvin Kamara in against his best wishes in at quarterback so that they don't have to take
Right.
Taysom Hill out of the tight end role. But this will be an interesting test. And here's the thing. Like I said, I think there's a good chance we'll see Trevor Siemian in this game. And so even if their plan would have been Taysom Hill all along, well, after you have a game and a half of Trevor Siemian, you'll have a better, stronger opinion of him. And that'll shape their long-term decision going forward after that.
He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett, ESPN.com. So is Odell Beckham going to wear 13 in New Orleans?
I think they would. I think they would be open to the idea. There's so many things that have to happen along the way, which is one, that he does get released by the Browns. I don't think he would get claimed off waivers. But if he's a free agent, here's their sales pitch: Odell, why don't you come back home to rehab your career? We can't pay you any money, and your quarterback is either going to be Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill, but you will be our number one receiver. So that would be their pitch. And look, I mean, maybe he would want that. Maybe he would want to be wanted. But, a lot of talk about how he might fit in the Raiders with their need for a receiver. There might be a lot of other teams that call. There might be teams that offer more money. So I think it's a realistic possibility, more realistic than all the, player X got released. Player X is going to get traded. Saints should get him. Saints should get him. This one is actually a realistic scenario, but there's still a lot of what ifs.
Mike, by the way, I say this all the time. Every fan always says that with every player that gets released, right? Could he be a candidate for the Saints? But if you're doing your due diligence in the front office, like, you should ask that about every single player. Like, because you never know until you vet something, and if someone could make you better. Now, 99% of the time, it's not going to work out, but sometimes it does, and this might be one of those examples. I'd love to have Odell in New Orleans. I mean, that would fundamentally change this offense if you had a game breaker like that at receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he's a huge question mark, too. We don't need to spend, maybe next Thursday we'll spend a whole segment talking about him if this comes to some sort of fruition, but he's quite a mystery, too. I mean, he could be anywhere from still has Pro Bowl talent left in him and will go to Pro Bowls again in the future to, for whatever reason, his career was a comet because that's what it's been in Cleveland so far.
One more on the personnel side. I'll ask you a few questions about the game Sunday against Atlanta. Deshaun Jackson cleared waivers. Is he an option?
Of course he's an option. If you play wide receiver, you're an option.
So true.
They brought Chris Hogan
I knew it.
out of retirement while he was playing lacrosse. So, yes, all receivers are an option. I do not, however, automatically think Deshaun Jackson solves the problem. I think Deontay Harris is a really good deep threat. I think Marquez Callaway has done his best work as a deep threat, and I think Tre'Quan Smith in his career has done his best work as a deep threat. What this team is lacking is more of the Willie Snead, Lance Moore type, work the middle of the field, the Michael Thomas type, work traffic, be a good guy who can win contested catches. I don't necessarily think a guy who runs deep routes, deep down the field as his specialty is what this team needs, especially now that Jameis Winston is not the quarterback anymore. But all receivers should be vetted.
Did Michael Thomas play his last game in New Orleans?
It's a good question. I don't think that this is an indication that tensions have bubbled over or whatever. I actually think things are better now than they were earlier this summer between the two sides. But with their salary cap situation, he's absolutely a trade candidate, obviously, with his pending salary. And those tensions did exist. So maybe one side or the other would want to change of scenery. But his injury history now and his size of his contract, you're not probably getting a first-round pick for him. What you're going to get back in a trade might not be tempting enough. And this team is still going to need receivers next year. This isn't a one-year problem. So, shipping the best receiver out of the building is not an automatic thing. So, obviously, I think we'll wonder if that's a possibility, but I don't think it's imminent.
Did Michael Thomas play his last game in New Orleans?
I'm going to say, I really think it's a 50-50 proposition. I might want the odds on no, because they might be good odd right now.
I agree. Okay, how are the Saints without a quarterback, without a viable receiving threat? How are they a near touchdown favorite over the Falcons?
Yeah, right. And I picked them to win by a touchdown, and toyed with picking them in my survivor pool that I'm in this week. It's a really good matchup for them. Here's the thing: the Saints are a 5-2 team this year. They were a 12-4 team last year, and it was not because of a special passing attack either year. Drew Brees was not quite himself last year, and he was battling injuries. Michael Thomas missed most of last year. They're 5-2 this year, while ranking 31st in passing yards and 31st in completion percentage, and they haven't had Michael Thomas all year. So they're special because of their defense, because of their run game, because of their coaching, because of their offensive line, and they're winning a lot of games. And I think they particularly match up well in all those areas against Atlanta. Atlanta wants to run the ball and probably won't have Calvin Ridley in this game. The Saints stop the run. Atlanta has been bad at stopping the run. The Saints want to run the ball. So, I mean, this is a really good matchup for the Saints when you consider all the strengths and weaknesses of the two teams.
What would be the vulnerability for New Orleans in this game if it pops up at noon on Sunday?
They might be starting Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill at quarterback.
Let's assume that's a given. But in this matchup in particular, do you see anything there?
I would call that a vulnerability. Although both of those guys are good options if you're in a bind. They're better than some teams, second and third string quarterbacks. But that's still what they are, and certainly unproven. And obviously the receivers have struggled and the tight ends have struggled. We're talking about the 31st ranked passing offense in the NFL just lost its quarterback who had thrown 14 touchdowns this year.
I'm just sad, Mike. I'm just sad. I don't need to
I kind of like it though. Follow me on this one. I'm Mr. Glass half full all the time.
Okay.
I've been a little down as somebody who has a Twitter account and covers the Saints for a living at how high the demand has gotten among this fan base. It's like, if you guys aren't going 16-0, they just booed Sean Payton, who many people think is the coach of the year, while he was beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Trevor Siemian at quarterback. He was getting booed. I'm not blaming all the fans, but the demand has become very high. I kind of like the idea that scrapping out a 10 or 11 win season and making the playoffs would be exciting and be a feel-good story. And I think that's what this team is going to do. I think it's a disappointment if they don't make the playoffs.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.